FormFlow. So what FormFlow is, basically it's a tool that allows you to build out workflows with forms and rules and create multi-page type scenarios. So let's jump into it and I'll show you how that's configured. Okay, so here we are in our demo site. So I'm going to first create a page. I already have some forms actually created for this demonstration. So I'm going to go into my pages. Let's create a new page. We'll call this FormFlow. We'll keep it showing in navigation. Let's select a slightly better template. Let's go with the self-service inner. Click on done, and then create and go to add content. So you notice for FormFlow, there's a new widget over on the side here. It's called FormFlow. It's pretty intuitive. Let's just drag that on there, and then essentially it's just like configuring the form manager. You just go into click on edit for that, and then you can define a flow. So as I said, it's more for multi-step type forms, but also decisions and being able to navigate to different forms based on the data that's entered from the user. So here we are. By default, it has that first form on there. I'm just going to move that over a little bit and just configure that little widget there. So first form, so I go down here. Like I said, I have a few of them already configured. So I'm going to take this contact form. Bunch of options. We can have it customly pass in other parameters to the next form or to the next rules. So you can take any of those fields that are on that form and pass those through via query string. By default, it will pass in all the created record IDs, the first created record only. So if you do happen to have multiple contacts on there, you can specify whether only to pass in the first contact, which is usually the primary contact or something along those lines. And also, if you're passing parameters through to other forms, you can continue to pass those on all the way through by just keeping that checked. So for this one, it's our first form. So here it is. We can give it a custom name if we want to. So like contact information. And then we just click on save. So there it is. So from here, what I'd like to do is actually branch out. So now I have these other capabilities. You'll see here we have forms, pages, and rules. So I'm going to actually add a rule to this. So just drag it on and drop it in place. Clicking on that rule, give that a descriptive title, have spouse, and then I can just select which field I want to do that query on. So I have one in here, marital status. There it is. So I can say when marital status is equal to married, click on save. And now you see here that we have the ability to add two nodes, a green one and a red one. Obviously green is yes, so they are married, and red would be no, they're not married. So if they are married, if they are married, we can add another form by just dragging it in there and say, hey, you know what? Give me the spouse's information. So if I go down here and select spouse, spouse info, it's all good. So we're going to pass all the same information through. We're going to keep on passing that contact over there so we can add it to an account form a little bit later on. If I want, I can provide a previous button by just checking off that previous button, and I can adjust that text. So now as they go through here, they of course can go back. So we'll keep that checked off. Let's click on save here. Next thing I want to do is provide the other branch to this, the false branch. So for that one there, I want them to go straight into the account information. So there we are there. Select my account information and keep pretty much all the same. I want them to be able to go back again, so I'll add that. Click on save. And now as I'm building this out, you can see here that we're starting to build those branches, and you can have some pretty complex type scenarios. So from the spouse side of things, we likely want to be able to go back into that account information. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually branching off, and I'm just, basically redefining which forms I want them to go into, because in this one here, I might want them to have a different landing page afterwards. So we don't want to branch back into this account here. So from here, an account, select that account form again, provide that ability to go back, click on save. So each of these forms, of course, you want to make sure that they're expecting the query string parameters to relate those records together. So this account form is actually expecting this contact ID through a query string, so it automatically associates the two records inside of Dynamics CRM, Dynamics 365. So from here, now I want to just try to terminate this. So we have to provide a page where they're going to go for confirmation, a landing page, something along those lines. So I'm actually going to drop a couple of these in here to terminate both of those branches. And let's go, let's send this one to the login. So let's just check that off. Okay, click on save. There it is there. And this one here, maybe we want this one here to take them straight to maybe the, forum page. Let's go with that one there. Click on save. There it is. So now we have that flow built out. So it's going to start with the contact. Depending on whether that contact has a spouse or not, it may go into the spouse information, it may just go into the account information. So let's click on save and close. Actually, before I do this, there are a couple other things as well. So as you're going through this, things can get kind of messed up. Not really, just bouncing around. So if you wanted to realign that, of course, we do have the refresh layout. And of course, you can zoom in and out. You can move around. So it's really flexible as an environment. You can also export as well. So if I want to, I can export as an image or a PDF. So if you wanted to create a flow and then maybe run it by some people in your team, you can export it and then just walk them through that flow as you're going. So I'm going to save and close this. Click on save, and by default it's going to load up that first contact form because that's the starting node. So there it is there. Let's publish this. Now let's take this for a little walkthrough. So I'm actually an administrative user, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this up as an anonymous user. So let's open up this incognito window. TPC 5. There it is there, home. So once this loads up, we have our new menu item, FormFlow. So clicking on that, of course it's going to drive us into that flow now. Starting with our contact information, and of course you can make it look and feel any way you like. This is pretty, you might want a page title and whatnot. Let's get with this one here. Let's go. Let's start off with the married side. Email address, I'm not going to bother filling in all the form. I'm just going to fill in the required fields. Let's click on submit. So now this is going to drive me into my spouse information. So there we are, my spouse information. Maybe I probably should have put titles on here, but that's all right. I'm thinking you're getting the idea here. So my beautiful wife, Kathy. And let's go with a Kathy at Kathy.com, something a little bit generic there. And you can see, I can submit and back. You can style this, so you can have the back button here and the submit button over here. So if I want, I can click on submit now. It's going to drive me into my account page. So there's my account information. So now into my business information. So there's my account information. If I want to go back, of course, or I can just submit. And I think this one's going to actually take us to the login page. There we go, and into the login page. So a pretty dynamic and versatile type widget. let's just take the other flow now. So let me go back into this here, and maybe this time I'll go with a different person. And this time, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that he's single. There we go. Clicking on submit. It's going to take us into right away into the business information because Clinton isn't married. So of course I can type in his business here. The portal connector, and then submitting this is going to take you to, I think, the forum page. I think we configured for that. There we go, into the forums. So as you can see, you can build some pretty robust type flows, and it's going to be a great tool for managing those long applications, whether that's a registration process for events, or maybe it's a membership management application. There's many different scenarios where you could use that type of configuration, control, and power.